All right, good evening, everybody. We have a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. The time is now 4:33. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the City website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin?
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Myers absent. Mayor Mullock?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
We have, Resolution 9102, 2026, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is for collective bargaining negotiations for GWU Local 2327 Middle Management.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
Public portion, Mayor?
Is anyone here wishing to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move into closed session.
Time is 4:34.
All right.
I didn't switch it yet, Aaron. is isolated.
Yeah. I know it's going over like wood.
So it goes between two houses
Yeah,
and connects a dead-end street with a passing street.
yeah.
But it's a little dead-end area.
Mhm. I mean, if it keeps traffic off Broadway,
Oh, anything that does that.
anything that helps keep the bike traffic off Broadway, I'm not gonna be upset about.
Because I feel the same way about Washington Street.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
I hate it.
Washington Street's a tight street, yeah. There's no force to see starting driving down Lafayette or Washington Street.
Whenever you see a bus coming towards you,
Yeah. Yeah.
force you through without any trouble with the snow.
Yeah, we were pretty good. Listen, if we got crushed with it, like, I think if first expected us to get crushed with it, it would have been a little bit more difficult. I'll be honest with you, I think our main problem right now is everybody staying healthy. There's like everyone's sick right now, so.
And there's damn few people in town. I mean, I look at my street,
Yeah.
and I think there's like 25% of the people
Oh, yeah.
are there, and most of them are full.
Yeah. Agreed. How you doing, sir? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, it's, seems to have really empty out. It'll be back up again very shortly, before we know it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go south.
All right. How long do you go? Where do you go before? Where do you?
Well, I used to live in Sarasota,
It's actually, okay.
66.
Okay, cool.
And we lived on Longboat Cave, and much like your system here,
Mm-hmm.
we had no commercial business to speak of.
Yeah,
We had no crime to speak of, other than what came down the island.
yeah,
There was a bridge at the north end and south end.
yeah.
But most of the crime was done by boats,
Okay.
and kids coming in.
Yeah, coming in, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem.
Yeah, no, that's, listen.
Like, that's where I had my favorite Phil Stickler. I had a gun door out for her.
Okay.
I don't have, it's not valid.
Yeah. So where do you go back down when you go?
Well, I'm just going to get out of Fort Lauderdale for a couple of days and take a cruise.
Nice, nice. Where you going?
Mexico, Belize,
Oh, nice.
Cartagena. They call it the Western.
Yeah.
Western, Holland.
Nice.
The only place I've never been is Belize.
Yeah, yeah,
I've been to other places.
yeah. We went on one over, actually on New Year's. The whole, like,
Take kids.
we took the kids, my mother-in-law went, actually my mother-in-law took all of us, what she did, which was an awesome gift. Because my sister's my wife's sister's whole family, they all came, all my whole family went. Okay, so it was like a whole big group of us that got
Martin.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are coming out of a closed session to discuss a union contract where we plan on taking no formal action. Do I have a motion to close the closed session?
I'll make the motion.
Would you like a vote on that? Okay.
We're all good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, time is 5:02, and we can open up the regular meeting, Mayor.
With that, we'll open up our regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. The time is now 5:03. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council and posted on the Cape May City website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade. Here. Councilmember Meyer is absent. Mayor Mullick.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz.
Here.
City Manager Dietrich.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner.
Here.
Any additions or deletions tonight, Council?
Any additions or deletions, Council?
Can I just, under one of our reports on the consent agenda, there was the water sewer that was attached to that. Do we want to add that to there?
I believe our tax collector includes the water sewer information because her department processes that. So I do believe it's just part of her
It's just part
report.
of her report, okay.
All good? All right, updates and old business, City Manager?
Thank you. I was going to give a brief rediscussion regarding the First Avenue pedestrian bicycle bridge. So I think if you could put at least the couple slides up. So I know last week we had the engineers from West Cape May make a presentation. It unfortunately did not make the written agenda, so we re-agendized the presentation for today. As city engineer, I'll make a presentation regarding that, since it is a city engineering project as well as it's a joint project between both municipalities. The West Cape May has gotten design funding through 2 different sets of grants, and then they've gotten the final construction grant to move forward. They are finalizing, I'll say, the permit plans and are getting ready to move forward to have to submit the permits. They have made an application to our HPC. We've met with our HPC review committee, got a favorable move on, and it is scheduled for the upcoming HPC meeting for review this month, which hopefully will get a good favorable recommendation. And with that recommendation, we'll be able to make the application to the DEP because they also need a comment from the State Historic Preservation Office. The bridge, I know we had some discussion last week. The bridge is essentially a 10-foot wide multi-use path, and under the DOT design guidelines, a 10-foot wide multi-use path is compatible for both bicycles and pedestrians at the same time for two-way traffic, so to speak. So it meets all the necessary safety standards for two-way traffic of bicycles and pedestrians together. It is essentially a truss-style steel truss bridge, most likely going to be constructed out of a weathering steel, so it'll have a brown weathered steel to it, so it won't be painted, so it won't have any long-term maintenance for painting. Here on the top picture is kind of what it'll look like, the main structural arch bridge. And when we use arch, the arch description is more for the function of the structure, not the function of what's underneath of it, though it will have a slight camber. It raises up about 8 to 10 inches from the abutment to the highest point down back to the other abutment at the other end. But it's still considered an arch mainly because of the structural steel design of the bridge. It'll have a wood deck and also have metal pedestrian safety railings. The approaches on either side will be on the West Cape May side will probably be a paved cartway. They just finished some soil borings on the Cape May City side, and there's some little unstable soils underneath, so they don't feel that they can excavate sufficiently to put a stable road base to have it paved. So most likely they're going to have to build a epay timber, kind of almost like at grade walk supported on piles for a good portion of the stretch that would reach from the bridge out to the street end. There will be bollards at either end so that you cannot drive up there. Can you now pull up the other presentation PDF that has the site plan on it? Yeah, that one. So you're going to say the span of the bridge itself is about 50 feet in length, which will cross Cape Island Creek. It will then connect on our side, First Avenue, and then connect over to West Grant Street in West Cape May. West Cape May has designed, they're designing that will connect to their bicycle mapping as you would head out to Sunset. We'll probably, as we move forward, design bicycle share the road charrettes to continue down First Avenue to Beach Avenue along there. The road, based on its low traffic count, charrettes will be sufficient to share the road. We don't anticipate, removing any parking along either, that entire stretch of the road. There are no other, I'll say, pedestrian amenities anticipated for this bridge. Unlike the nature trails where we had overlooks with benches and different things, this is essentially, it's a pedestrian and bicycle movement bridge. It's not meant to go up there and hang out, to stay, to loiter, fish, and do all those kinds of things. So, on our side, we won't have any benches, whether it's at First Avenue at the end or along the bridge, but there'll be an access to the sidewalk and then a depressed curb for the bicycles to land and come up off the street.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
It came up at our last meeting. Are these bicycles going to be in motion, or are they going to have to walk across?
They'll be in motion because
They will be, okay.
because it's a multi-use path under the DOT's design standards, as I stated, that is fully conforms to safety standards to have that width and to have two-way traffic, both bicycles and pedestrians mixed along that route.
Okay.
Paul, can you discuss what proposal, if any, there is for lighting in the area?
I mean, at this point, I don't know if they've designed any. At most, I would say that you could install some low-level LED downlights along maybe the curb line just to illuminate the curb line. But I would not anticipate any street lights. If either town wanted to maybe put a street light at the end where the path intersects the street, just to define, typically at a street end like that, that would be a typical spot where you might want a street light, so it would not be inappropriate to maybe put a street light at the end, but not really to have too much lighting up and over the bridge, except for maybe some low-level LED lighting.
So Paul, I thought that we had discussed or at least asked for consideration around the ballards to have some lighting in those so that people would be aware of that.
Well, and that would be at the end.
Okay, yeah.
At the street end. So,
Okay.
like I said, at the street end,
All right.
at First Avenue, if we had a street light there, that would illuminate where
Okay,
the
fine.
bollard would be.
Just want to make sure
and
that that could
illuminate
be
that
seen.
area.
Okay.
The transition from where you're moving from the street up to the path,
Okay, all right.
I think would be appropriate to have a street light,
Okay.
but
Yep.
not to have elevated street lights across the bridge. I think that would be something,
That would be more intrusive.
that'd be more intrusive, not only just for the view shed down the creek, but for the neighbors and stuff like that.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, anything else, City Manager?
No, and this project, as I said before, is really being spearheaded, by West Cape May. I know this is probably the third or fourth meeting that we've discussed it here in public. I know that it's made a public presentation at the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, and I know, obviously, we're going to be at our HPC, and I believe West Cape May has had a couple public meetings regarding the bridge.
And these are on our website?
These are on our website, and I think they've been on, obviously, we've been updating it, but we've had the schematic plans of the bridge, I think, up since at least the summertime.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments, council? Okay. Any other updates, city manager?
I just wanted to update, obviously, we've gone through a lot of frigid, cold weather, so we've had to close all the public restrooms throughout the city. Where normally our warmer climate during the winter has allowed us to keep them open. This frigid weather, even we tried to keep them open, it's just, we didn't want to do any more damage to pipes or anything like that to try to keep them open. So they've all been closed. I would anticipate them reopening probably in March. The contractor has begun construction on Harbor Road, Harborview Park, I'm sorry. If you've been down there, they've removed the boardwalk area along the bay in the harbor, and they've started to clean up and remove some of the other items. There are some memorial benches that were located in there. Notices have been sent to those bench owners, and we're following the same procedure that we did with the promenade with these bench owners, and kind of following the same process and procedure with them. And then all of our other projects were moving along at a little bit slower of a pace just due to weather, but most of them are moving along. I think the contractor at the police station building is hoping to maybe remobilize tomorrow and try to get a little work done.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, city manager. Before I go to the city solicitor, I'll just quickly go to city council. Any updates or old business, council? No? Okay, city solicitor, obviously, we're about to go into ordinances for introduction. If you had anything else, obviously, please give us an update, but if you could maybe highlight those ordinances now, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah. So it's not ideal or my preference to get these things the day of to council or to the public. We like to get them out in advance. But fortunately, this is first reading, and the reason for a little bit of a fire drill, at least for the first three, to get these on for first reading is because the city, like all other municipalities throughout the state, are facing the need to comply with fourth-round obligations for affordable housing. And the state statute and the program that's been established to replace COA really puts the city and other likely situated municipalities under the gun to enter into consent orders, adopt resolutions, adopt ordinances and updates. And one of those deadlines is March 15th. So that's why, let's get this on the agenda and get it to the planning board and get it back to council, and we'll have second reading, hopefully early in March to meet that deadline. But that's sort of the reason for getting this on and not having those drafts available for the packet. So, but I'll just go through. I'll start with 591. This is the overlay district to promote affordable housing in the C5 district. And as part of, again, the fourth round unmet need obligation that we adopted and discussed months ago, we need to come up with an overlay district and somewhere to put that. And in discussions with the city's planner, who's Mr. Hurlis, who works as the Planning and Zoning Board engineer, and discussions with our Affordable Housing Council, we came up with and discussed a concept of where this could potentially go, what the options were, and it needs to be a reasonable, practical option. It can't be imagined. We have to provide an actual opportunity and look at what's available. And to the surprise of nobody in this room or at this table, there's not a lot to work with in Cape May. There's a lot of things are built out. A lot of land is restricted. So the C5 district seemed like the most practical candidate for this type of overlay. And it's providing the opportunity for affordable housing developments to occur with density and bulk regulations mirroring those in the related R zones in Cape May. So these are familiar district regulations, but in the C5, specifically tailored towards affordable housing development. It's not, hey, go ahead and put a bunch of single-family homes here. It's, have an affordable housing development and providing that as an incentive and a density incentive and a toolbox item that can be used to deploy and create affordable housing opportunities. So Mr. Hurlis couldn't be here tonight. but fortunately, we're going to have 2 more public meetings on this ordinance and the other 2 that I'll get to in a second. So this, if introduced by council tonight, would go to the planning board for master plan consistency review. Mr. Hurlis will, of course, be at that meeting, and we'll go over the detail and the discussion of that in relation to the master plan. And then if approved by the planning board, it would come back here hopefully for the first meeting in March for second reading, public hearing, and adoption. And then we would be in position to meet our obligations under the 4th round for that. The next 2, 592 and 93, I would characterize these more as housekeeping. These are the ones that weren't in council's packet, weren't in the public packet. These are more in the nature of housekeeping ordinances. It's replacing the affordable housing section of the code and the development fee requirements. But these are largely standardized requirements under the UHAC and state regulations. And the difference between the new and the old is not going to look very different from what exists today. We're retaining things like the accessory apartment program, the development fee revenues that are paid by developers when they do projects that goes into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and the requirements for developments, specialized credit programs, enforcement. Very familiar existing programs will continue under this new ordinance. Like I said, these are housekeeping, but you're going to see maybe some incentives for accessory apartments go up. That's encouraged under the 4th round obligation, so there's some subsidies in there. In the current code for accessory apartments, this proposes to increase those based on recommendations as part of that 4th round compliance. So, like I said, there are some modifications in here, but not rewriting or reinventing the wheel. It's similar concepts and framework, just with some updates to conform to the current and updated affordable housing laws. So that is kind of the overview, aerial view of these 3 ordinances. And if council introduces them tonight, like I said, we're going to send all 3 to the planning board. There'll be another opportunity to review and discuss them through the lens of the master plan, and then hopefully back here again for early March for a second reading and adoption and opportunity for public comment and hearing.
That's great. Before I open it up to questions, I guess we should introduce it. So if you have any questions, we'll introduce it, and you can ask the solicitor. Is that good?
Okay, we have 591-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 525 of the City Code to promote affordable housing in the C5 zoning district.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? Obviously, this is the ordinance that the solicitor just went through. Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
592-2026, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 59, Article 5, entitled Affordable Housing of the City Code.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
And 593-2026, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 59, Article 6, entitled Development Fee Requirements of the City Code.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
594-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the City Code regarding metered parking fees at the Cape Island Baptist Church parking lot pursuant to city use agreement.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
And 595-2026, an ordinance of the City of Cape May amending the revised general ordinances of the city to provide for a restricted handicap parking space at or adjacent to 212 Stockton Place for Rebecca Walder.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick? And moving on to ordinances for second reading and consideration for adoption, we have 585-2026, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank for calendar year 2026.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second?
And
These
there
are-
is a public hearing this evening, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 585, ordinance 585, cap bank? Not cap, yeah, okay. Seeing none, we can close public comment. Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
586, 2026, an ordinance authorizing conveyance of deeds and easement to the County of Cape May to accommodate the Delaware Avenue revetment project, Block 1184, Lot 1 and 1.01, Block 1195, Lot 1.01, Block 1206, Lot 1.01, Block 1217, Lot 1.01.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a public hearing, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 586, conveyance? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have I'm sorry, we have a motion. Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
587, 2026, ordinance authorizing utility easement agreement with the Atlantic City Electric Company to accommodate relocation of electric poles, equipment, and overhead lines in the area of the new police station in Lafayette Street Park, Block 1061, lots 42 and 51, with a public hearing.
Do I have a motion?
You have to public hearing.
Oh.
Either way.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on ordinance 587? This is the relocation of electric poles. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullick?
Yes.
And 588-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the City Code regarding on-street parking permits to confirm a residency requirement.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on 588? Sir? Yeah. Martin?
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to provide all of you with a little fan mail. I listened to the meeting the other day, and I made a statement today on social media about how my wife and I take great comfort in the level of transparency that this administration constantly exhibits. It's a strength of this administration, and I hope it stays this way for administrations to come. I think it gets overlooked sometimes. I think sometimes you get punished for doing the right things, but it gives us as city residents a great deal of pride.
Thank you.
With respect to the on-street parking, the arguments that were made when we got to this resolution, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Martin Van Walsum, 329 Congress Street, involved my street, and therefore it kind of piqued my interest. Don't tell my healthcare company, but I have an occasional cigar as I walk around the city of Cape May. And after that meeting and during one of those walks, I did take a close look at Windsor and Congress, which was mentioned as being an area that was of particular concern. And I found that there were on Windsor Street alone 6 reserved spots. That represents about 20% of all the spots in the city of Cape May. So it was, I think we all are subject to the things that we encounter in our daily lives. And I think since it's a one-way street, if you have to pass those 6 spots every time you leave your house, and some of them are empty, maybe the person is at work, maybe the person isn't here, we don't know the reasons why, it may seem as if that's an awful lot. But if you drive down almost every street in Cape May, there are no spots. So I applaud you for your decision to table this. I just have one residual suggestion with respect to this issue. The objective of considering limiting the number of parking spots that could be reserved was because parking is so precious. On Windsor, and on Windsor and Congress, I found 10 spots that could be reclaimed with restriping. There are, for example, 3 spots south of South Lafayette by the Sandpiper Hotel that it's not a site triangle, it's not a driveway, there's just 3 spots that can be reclaimed by restriping.
Would you be willing to meet with our,
I'd-
city engineer?
I could take a look at it.
okay, that'd be great.
I also, being on the corner of Congress and Claghorn, which is a relatively desirable spot, especially for many of the workers in the city of Cape May, because it's a less than a 5-minute walk to where they work. We get the opportunity to kind of observe behaviors and patterns, and we know that the spots generally get filled between 7 and 8 in the morning and then turn over again. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for example. One thing that I've noticed is that many times people will leave significant distance between the car in front of them and the car behind them. So another opportunity that I think we have is to, I've thought about this from time to time, and I don't think it really falls into the category of sign pollution, which we all find a little objectionable, but more space markings. I think that while it won't
Martin,
create parking
'cause
spots.
the city manager and I have talked about this, and we've gotten this complaint, that I think Larry David calls them pig parkers, the people that take over like 2 spots in
Sure.
one, right? But the problem is, and would you want to explain it?
Yeah, so when we have to mark them, they call them, mark them with the T's and the L's. When you mark out the spaces, I have to mark it at a 22-foot space. So for yes, you have people that I'll say hog up and take those extra spaces. Throughout the summer, though, you'll get, on average, you'll get more parking without those markings, because you'll get a lot of potentially smaller cars, and you end up parking in something a little bit tighter than you normally would want to park, but it's a parking spot, so I'm going to fit in there. So you actually will get more parking on a long stretch. Now, if it's a smaller stretch, sometimes it might make sense to do the marking so that you can't, especially if it's a 2-spot space and somebody wants to sit in the middle of a 2-spot space. So I'll say, yes, there are times that maybe it warrants to mark it, but then there's other times, especially on a longer stretch, to not mark it, because you actually get more spaces in there. So we can definitely.
Martin, I didn't believe that explanation until we went out and like looked at it, and I think you said 22 feet, right?
Yes.
A lot of times we'll measure it and it'll be 60 feet, and it's like, so are we putting 2 markings and 60 feet of, it's.
Yeah, so there's probably an algorithm where it does make sense. I thought the definition of a spot was 9 by 18, so
Yeah, well, that is true for a parking lot,
Okay.
but don't forget, that's a parking lot where you're pulling in.
Yep.
But for parallel parking,
Yep.
you have to allow for the people that
Yep.
aren't quite as good at parallel parking as others, and for the benefit of the front bumper and the rear bumper of your car, the standard for actually on-street parking is 22 feet. So yeah, everybody intuitively says, oh, it's 18 feet, and they go out there and measure 18 feet, but it's actually 22 feet that you have to.
Yeah, the parallel parking derby is something that we get the opportunity to enjoy living on Congress Street, watching people try to squeeze in, or even spots.
And that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
as people get tighter and you have a smaller car, you'll be able to squeeze a couple more cars in and fit into a spot that you might not normally want to
So
park.
there probably is an algorithm that says that if it's a certain distance between site triangles, it makes sense to put the.
For
parking
2
spot-
spaces, it sometimes does make sense to mark them, because that's usually when it's easier for somebody to, go out and block 2 spaces with 1, and then a lot of times that is a resident blocking it for their friend or family to come
Well,
in
so that's-
and
that
and
brings-
reserve it, that's kind of.
That brings me to my last point.
A resident reservation.
I actually, because of the length of my commute between Massachusetts and here, which we hopefully will no longer have starting in probably June, we'll be here full-time. It's about time. I actually did listen to a book on parking. And one of the points that was made in the book was that the only reason to have a standard that requires parking spaces for houses is to keep people from parking on the street that live in the houses. And there are a great many spots that I see where the driveway is completely empty and the 2 or 3 cars are in the driveway. I've tried to think of a way to, by decals or some other means, require that people actually use the spots that they're required to have by zoning law to have. I don't know how to do it, but if you put a couple of smart people in a room together, we can probably figure it out. And that would be, 100 spots conservatively. So when we start talking about doing things that in this instance would have reclaimed 5 or 6 spots, we have opportunities to reclaim dozens of spots around the city by diligently looking at the way that we currently do things. But I applaud you for deciding that the juice here wasn't worth the squeeze and deciding to table this ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Martin, and good points. Anyone else wishing to speak on 588? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. I don't believe we have a motion. Do I have a motion?
Do not.
Do we want to motion this to table it indefinitely?
A motion to table?
Table it
To
indefinitely.
table indefinitely.
I'll make a motion to table
Or
indefinitely.
vote it down? What
Or-
are we
or-
doing?
Which
Table
one?
it with its extreme prejudice.
Yeah, table it with,
You could table it indefinitely.
I'll make a motion to table with extreme prejudice.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? So obviously, a yes vote would be to table. Do I, we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor McDade.
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
All right. And moving on to public portion on resolutions only.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on any of the resolutions on the agenda this evening? Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, if you would.
And Mayor, I do have one comment before, after the public comments, I do have one comment before council votes.
Go ahead, Paul. Want to comment first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Regarding the resolution, ordinance number 591-2026.
Excuse me, sir, could you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Paul Johnston. I reside at 11 South Broadway, Cape May.
Thank you.
And I have a question. The C5 district, it refers to C5, rezoning C5 for affordable housing. C5 district, zoning district, to my knowledge, is the wetlands between the end of Elmira Street and the Public Works area, building. Is that correct?
That is a portion of the C5.
Portion of it.
Yeah. If you want to think about where the C5 is, it's the corridor of Bank Street around where the city's parking lot is and where Bank Street Commons is and where Swains is.
Okay.
And then it kind of loops around, and there is some portions of land that are in the wetlands area, but there's also,
Okay.
that's the general area of where C5
Okay.
is.
I saw the map and it looked like it was entirely on the wetland section, but I'll stand by your answer. Here's an idea. The federal government owns land adjacent to the Coast Guard base. You drive by, you see signs saying federally owned land. Why can't the city cooperate or approach the federal government, Coast Guard based, Department of Homeland Security, and ask them to build more public housing next to that facility?
Where exactly are you talking?
I'm talking around Delaware Avenue,
Okay.
and people are going to hate me for saying this. This is controversial, but the area around the Lost Fisherman's Memorial.
Okay.
There's about 3 or 4 or 5 lots there.
I
They're
know
going
where
to kill
you're
me for
talking.
saying that.
Yep. No, I know where you're talking. Yep.
But there is federally owned land there.
Right.
Signs saying it's all cattails.
Yep.
It's high ground,
Yep.
but it could be utilized for that.
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Johnson?
every single apartment, every single bed that goes to affordable housing is a positive. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think that's a good thought, and the problem with this is there's so many ways to try and think about and slice this onion, like where do we create these opportunities? The problem that we're facing with these ordinances is a practical one. It's that we are put under the gun, along with every other municipality, to make a decision and come up with some kind of practical solution that might provide these opportunities, and that's where this came from. It didn't come from even months of planning. It came from like weeks of having to just come up with something to make sure that the city's in compliance with, really, I'll say it, I don't know that other people would agree with this, but I just think arbitrary deadlines of like come up with something by this date that might not be able to, you might not have the time to come up with all these solutions that you're.
Right.
But it's a
Saying
good idea.
you're doing a legal formality to justify something and to do some paperwork.
No.
Here's some law.
No, I'm trying.
I'm thinking in
I'm
practical.
I'm
thinking
trying to
in
give credit to
I'm
what you're
thinking-
saying.
I'm thinking in
Okay.
practical terms. In practical terms, the federal government, HUD, does a lot of housing. And they haven't done a housing project in Cape May County since 1968. In this city, and maybe in Wildwood, but not since 1968 has HUD built a single unit.
Mr. Johnson, to respond to that directly, we don't have 4 weeks to come up with that.
Well, you got my idea.
I think it's a good
Someone should approach.
It's not a bad idea.
Someone
It's
should
not a
approach
bad
a
idea.
congressman and put pressure on him.
It's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Obviously, we'd have to convince the feds to go along with it, but it's a good idea. and I
That's your
like it.
job.
Yeah.
That's your
Yep.
job.
I agree with, yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on resolutions this evening? Nothing on resolutions? Seeing none, we'll close public comment on resolutions.
And Mayor, if I could just make a comment
Yes, sir.
regarding, so regarding the 95 hazard mitigation plan. So obviously, this is a plan that was here before in the draft section, which all, and we did a resolution where we were recommending that to submit our portion to the county, and then the county submits it to NJOEM, and then submits up to FEMA. We're now at the process where all the state and FEMA have signed off on it. It's back now to us to finally endorse and come in. I talked to Ms. Baldwin about the couple items that have gone through HPC, especially real recently, that were kind of, I'll say, in the works like kind of at the same time that this plan was being drafted, and kind of when if you think about the Columbia study that we just did that talked about resiliency and all the work that the HPC did on that, and so we can't really change that plan for now, but my recommendation would be is just to acknowledge that and say that every fall I do a update to the hazard mitigation plan as part of our CRS program, and update to that I will make a plan, recommendation to acknowledge, the work that the HPC did and that the Columbia University report did, to be incorporated that as one of our planning documents for hazard mitigation. And I'll do that as part of the annual update that I do for that. I just wanted to obviously let council know that that's where that point is for the hazard mitigation plan, and how we can address that planning effort that we did do with Columbia University, which was a great effort. Once we get that final report and be able to put that online, it's going to be a great asset for us. But I just wanted to make that comment.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, with that, do I have a,
Is there anything anyone would like to remove from the consent
Thank you.
agenda this evening?
anything, council? No?
No? All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? Roll call?
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
Moving on to the mayoral appointment to the Environmental Commission, Mayor. That's Ms. Jennifer Flamini to the alternate 1 position, I believe.
That's great, and I want to thank Jennifer for her willingness to volunteer for the Environmental Commission. And just announce to everyone tonight, too, we are still looking for one more, we have one more vacancy on the Environmental Commission. So, and I have to say, it is state law that person has to be a resident of the city of Cape May. We got a couple volunteers that were nearby, but we're not residents. So we are looking for a resident of the city of Cape May for one more person on the Environmental Commission. So if you can think of somebody, please let them know that we're looking. But Jennifer, thank you very much.
Also, if I may, I believe there's 1 or 2 vacancies on the Shade Tree
Shade Tree.
Commission with the same residency requirement. So if anybody is interested in serving, please just reach out to myself in my office. Okay.
Got that Shade Tree Commission as well. Jennifer, thank you very much. Do I need a motion? No, that's just
just
an
you.
appointment. You're appointed.
We'll get you to
All right.
sign it.
On to new business. City Solicitor, any new business?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City Manager,
Nothing, thank you.
City Clerk?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
All right. Councilwoman Baldwin?
I'll go with nothing.
Okay. Councilman Bodnar?
Mayor, I do. I'd actually like to comment on a recent letter posted by you, our mayor, on social media addressing the ICE situation in Minneapolis and your call for peace and democracy. Mayor, you stated so eloquently the call to adhere to principles of fairness, respect for the law, respect for constitutional principles, and local authority. As a city council, our focus is on local issues and our local community. And I gather that the local officials in Minneapolis would prefer to be doing the same thing. The events that unfolded there, as well as the removal of our history in Philadelphia, are sobering reminders that we all need to be vigilant for our community. And Mayor, I just want to commend you for taking the lead in your capacity as the mayor of Cape May.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Deputy Mayor?
Nothing this evening, but I echo Mr. Bodner's sentiments. I'm very proud to be able to sit next to you for the work that you do, the protection that you put forth for our community each and every day, and the fact that you were willing to step out there, because many people don't. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll just quickly say a big thank you to our Department of Public Works. As you all know, there's still snow on the ground out there, but it's almost easy to forget now that our roads have been really clean for a while now. But they got out there very quickly and did an excellent job, and thank God they did, because you all know that rain came and it became a big sheet of ice everywhere. So
So I think we don't classify it as snow anymore. I think it's just classified as ice.
Yeah,
It's just white ice at this point.
exactly,
so.
and same goes to our first responders, our police and firefighters. I know they've had a little tougher time in regards to all this weather. So it felt like the tropics out there at 32 degrees today. So with that, we'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any and all matters, please come to the microphone. State your name and address for the record. Good evening.
Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. I'd like to echo what you said about the Public Works. I think we should be very proud of our streets. They did a great job. We're coming down the final stretch with the seawall, the long wall along Beach Avenue. And that probably is one of the largest visual things that we all see on a constant basis. Right now, it's a patchwork of every color that you could think of. And I noticed that there is a couple of samples of colors down towards the cove. And I think we should plan on painting that entire area of concrete, maybe even some of the area that's wood, and have it a consistent color so that it frankly is not objectionable. The patchwork to me would be objectionable, and I would encourage you to lean towards a sand color or the color of concrete as opposed to something that would be a more dramatic presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mayor, can I?
Please.
Okay. There was, Mr. Roush, just to follow up on what you said, yes, there were a few colors that were put down
Yeah, I saw.
close to the end. Councilmember Bodner and I, as well as the manager, the deputy manager, the engineers, we met down there, and a couple of other people. We're waiting at this point for a year to see how things are going to patina a little bit. And as, you know, as this year is coming up, they're finishing things, we're going to look at that again and revisit that.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have it finished, so that when we open up the city to the tourists this summer, we have a nice blend throughout the entire town, and it's all consistent rather than the patchwork.
Thank you, Mr. Roush. Good evening.
Go ahead. Stacy Shan, 928 Columbia Avenue. My question is on the ordinances that were passed tonight concerning 592 and 593. Did council have a copy of those changes before the meeting?
We got them when we
They
got
were
here.
introduced tonight. Council did get a copy, and I did update the website earlier today to try to give as much notice as I could to the public.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I was on there last night and I didn't see them
Yeah, we didn't
listed.
get them till this morning from our Affordable Housing Council.
So they are on there now?
They are.
Okay, because that was my concern, to try to make a comment when there was a lot to both of those ordinances on what changes were going to be coming in and going out.
That's, yeah, that's what I indicated. First thing I said was,
I don't know if you were here, Stacy.
No, I was here.
Oh, okay.
I was here.
Okay.
But the thing is they're both very long.
They're long.
Almost over a page and a half.
They're-
So your short description, I wasn't sure really what was coming in and what was going out.
right, so just to recap, the one that was included is like the more customized, let's dive in and look at this. It's the C5 overlay district, and that's going to go to the planning board. The other two.
The other two is what I'm concerned.
Yeah, they're-
The other one was in the package.
No, I know. And,
Okay.
and what I'm saying is that the other two are more in the way of housekeeping updates.
Yes.
It's very similar language and very modest updates to conform to the updates in the UHAC and the affordable housing law. So like I said earlier, things like the accessory apartment program, development fee revenues, the
What do you mean, when you say accessory apartments, what do you mean by accessory apartments? Are going to be more allowed there in the town?
They're the-
We already have,
They're-
under the third round settlement agreement from 2018, we have an accessory apartment program. That's the spending plan from 2018 was completely dedicated to let's do accessory apartments. And
But when you say accessory apartments, I'm trying to understand what you mean by accessory. Like not garages change into apartments?
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Oh, so,
but subject to deed restrictions and affordable housing requirements, not just turn it into an Airbnb, it's
So-
turn it into affordable housing unit.
but only on the C5 area?
No.
No,
Entire
no,
city.
no.
So why I'm asking this is because I'm on the zoning board, and a lot of times we've been saying to people, you can't be putting, plumbing and heating in there to make an apartment to rent out, but now you're saying they can.
Well, if they want to commit that to the city's affordable housing program, that's precisely what's in the code.
Deed
Yeah.
restrict.
So it all, okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Maureen, that's what I was trying.
I
So-
know there's that tension, but that, we actually, and there's a planning movement pointing towards accessory apartments even now, after the city's been doing it for years. We haven't had a lot of success with it, but it's still a program that we think it's one of the options and one of the tools in the toolbox to promote the goal of affordable housing. And that's why, in combination with an overlay district and set-asides for developments with 5 or more units, if somebody does a subdivision, it's one of the tools. It's not the solution, but it's part of a package.
And,
Okay.
and that's been in there since 2018.
Right, so,
Right.
but so it has to be deed-restricted then?
Yes.
It
Yes.
can't- And when they say deed-restricted, can the owners use it
No.
No,
No,
it's got to,
okay.
it's got to be marketed for.
for just that?
Yes.
And
Thanks
under
for
the
the
conditions
clarification.
of marketing for
Affordable
affordable
housing.
housing, meaning, income verification, all of those
Okay.
things. So, yeah.
So,
Okay, thank you for that.
and Stacy, I'll add to that. I'm usually not the one that's like saying, let's throw something on the agenda really quick and get it out there without it being on in a public packet and with the council being able to see it. But I'm promoting these being on tonight for the sole reason that we're under a deadline to get these
Right,
things
right,
adopted.
and I understand that.
And there's going to be more there's going to be a planning board review of it and then a second reading of this. So there'll be more opportunities for the
So I
public to
think
interact.
it was in November, I think that the state came down and said that you had to get this plan in place, correct?
Right, and
In November?
and right in November, and you can see the breadth of these documents. They're not like 2-pagers. It's a lot of work and planning that has to go into a very short period of time.
Yeah, because when I was going through, what those ordinances were looking at, it was a lot of information. That's why I was concerned about what it was going to go after, that you're still keeping, that people have to put money into the affordable fund and things like that.
And that's why, a lot of the major pieces of the structure of affordable housing in Cape May and statewide are not changing. It's just being updated. It's
So is it being
Nomenclature.
updated and changes made to incorporate that new C5 part of it?
that's up for discussion. That's going to be a component of the city's compliance with 4th round obligations.
Okay, so these two ordinances, I thought these two ordinances were coming into play because of the C5 being.
No, we
into
would
it.
do this anyway. These are
Okay. So
updates
these
to
are just-
comply with
okay.
state law. Yeah.
Okay, so they're not part of that C5 then?
No, but I'm talking about them together, Stacy, because it's all part of compliance.
Right, but it's not, it's a little different because you're not changing things to make it compatible?
Right, we would do the 592 and 593 regardless of whatever we did in 591. 591 this is the best we could come up with from a planning standpoint to present to council and to the planning board and invite their comments and discussion.
Right. And I was surprised that the C5 is the Swains area backing up to Bank Street, I guess it is, or coming out to Bank Street, and where Marsh McLaren building is, correct? And then the other C5 is back behind Broad Street, not Broad Street Court, back behind that, and that development there between Elmira and Over, correct?
Yep, and that's the wetlands I think somebody had referenced
Right, but
earlier.
the old Mars Nut House
Yep,
storage building and things.
yeah,
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
sure.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Hello, Roz.
Ross Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. I believe in the power and the responsibility of communication and educating our citizens, and it's in this spirit I'd like to ask you, Mayor, to give us a short briefing on the role of Cape May's law enforcement as it pertains to issues of homeland security
Sure.
and immigration. I did ask Deacon if he could come, because I thought he would be a little... You can't hear me? Really? Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, he had other engagements.
And he did send Lieutenant Walker.
Here are just a couple questions. What determines if federal officers come into our city? Do you know the answer to that?
I'd rather professionals answer this because truly I don't know this like these folks do. And
wonderful.
Roz, you were nice enough.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful.
Can I join you up here?
I'd love it.
Okay, excellent. My name's Joseph Walker. I'm the administrative lieutenant with the Cape May Police Department. The chief did ask me to be here tonight because he's got a family emergency that he had to attend to.
Thank you.
So I'm here for
Thank you
him.
for being here.
Of course. I think first, just let me begin at the beginning to explain that the Attorney General's office issues directives and guidelines on a yearly basis. The directives and guidelines set law enforcement standards throughout the state, and the police officers are mandated to follow these directives and guidelines. In 2018, New Jersey came out with the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Directive, which gave police officers and agencies a roadmap on how to handle working with ICE and how we serve members of the immigrant community. The goal of the directive is to promote trust in our state's diverse immigrant communities and to ensure that victims and witnesses feel safe in reporting crimes to the police. Prior to answering any questions or any other questions, if you just give me a few moments, I could review some of the important pieces of information in the directive because it may answer questions for everybody that's in the audience. First and foremost, if you're not a citizen and you are a victim or a witness of a crime, please come forward, as our priority in any of our police departments here locally is to ensure the public safety. No one should suffer in silence out of fear of being identified as a non-U.S. citizen. New Jersey law enforcement will not ask an individual about their immigration status unless in limited circumstances that information is necessary and relevant to pursue an indictable criminal investigation. New Jersey is not a sanctuary state for anyone who commits crimes in New Jersey, which means that New Jersey law enforcement officers will investigate all state of New Jersey criminal offenses. Any person who violates New Jersey criminal laws will be arrested and prosecuted for their actions regardless of immigration status. So anybody who commits a crime is subject to the state laws. No state, county, or local law enforcement officer shall stop, question, arrest, search, or detain any individual based solely or actual or suspected citizenship, immigration status, or violations of federal civil immigration law. New Jersey law enforcement officers will not assist federal agents such as ICE with enforcing civil immigration activities. New Jersey law enforcement officers cannot provide ICE with access to state or local enforcement resources, including equipment, office space, databases, or property. New Jersey law enforcement officers can assist federal agencies with the enforcement of criminal investigations or when exigent circumstances exist, the safety to fellow law officers or the public is in jeopardy. New Jersey law enforcement will comply with and enforce arrest warrants only signed by a judge and not by ICE officers. The state of New Jersey has a lot of information on their website, and if you'd like to review the full directive and then any additional information from the state's Attorney General's office, you should visit nj.gov/trust and I can write that down for you. The state has really done a good job at providing information, especially all in one place. So it's there in multiple different languages, and it's the do's and don'ts of law enforcement. I could show you, I printed out just a couple different handouts, that they have examples of.
Right, yeah, I've seen
So if you've seen them, yeah. So essentially, to answer the one question that you have about ICE if they show up, they're a federal law enforcement agency. Usually we respect each other in the fact that if we're coming into somebody else's jurisdiction, even if I'm going into another town to call for, a background investigation, I would usually call ahead and say, hey, this is, at the time it was Detective Sergeant Walker, I'm here, in Lower Township, I'm going to be out of this address. I would hope that they would contact us and give us the same kind of courtesy. But in the same vein, that might not be the case. I know a couple weeks ago, the U.S. Marshal's Office did come down, and they did reach out to us first, and they made us aware of where they were. They didn't need any assistance, and that was kind of the end of where that was left at. But to answer your question, we would hope that we would be notified in advance. However, that might not be the case.
What determines whether they're here or not?
I think orders from, like every agency, they get orders from their bosses, and that would determine, I can't answer that exactly to say, but I mean, if they came down here for an enforcement operation, we would not be assisting with that immigration enforcement operation, but they may be directed to be down here. That I can't speak to as to why they would be here. Yep. I think the most important thing to take out of it is that, that directive is pretty specific as to the do's and don'ts for law enforcement. So, and that's not a new directive. That directive has been issued since 2018, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Counsel. I think it's been issued since 2018, so it's a long-standing directive. All of our officers are very well trained with it. Every year, we prepare annual reports for the prosecutor's office for any of our, involvement with ICE investigations, and I believe as long as I've been preparing the report, maybe for the last 5 years, I want to say that there hasn't been any involvement in those annual reports. So, hope that answered your question. I know it's a little bit of a lengthy one there, but
No, not at
yeah,
all.
okay.
You covered that.
Okay.
Anybody want to?
Anybody else have any questions?
Okay.
Okay.
Roz, thank you. Lieutenant, thank you very much. And hearing you say that too, I just want to assure our public, you guys just do such a wonderful job.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate it. I'll let the chief know.
You do a wonderful job and take care of our community, so we can't thank you enough, so.
Excellent. Thank you.
Roz, any
Thank you,
other
Roz.
questions for us?
I don't, and thank you very much, and thank Chief Deacon for me. Okay. One other thing. I'd like to ask council to schedule a 2026 town hall meeting in May. 2 years ago, I requested one, and it came about in November of that year. Last year, I requested a town hall, and it never happened. This year, I'm going to ask again. I realize any resident at any time can come to a city council meeting and express their opinion. The people who show up usually come to express their concern on a specific topic, but this is not the same as a town hall. So I have a town hall. The main reason for me is, is communication. First, because it's a time where our city government can paint an overall picture of ongoing projects and projects planned for the future. And secondly, as of equal importance, you're creating a time for community engagement, and I stress that, community engagement. A time when residents get to hear each other residents' views on issues that affect the community. Such feedback allows you to hear this feedback and include it as any part of your decision-making. Such communicative openness in a town hall fosters trust that leadership is accessible and responsive. I hear all the time how most people in Cape May are just interested in a safe beach, clubs, shopping, restaurants, and a beautiful sunset, of course. But there are many of us, including some of these people, I am sure, who do keep their eyes on the ordinary, everyday issues. Clean water, safety, schools. Sorry. This is important, keeping a balance between what is good for us and our homes and what is good for commerce. Keeping a balance between those of us who have a loud voice and those who have a softer one. We must watch out for the ordinary to be able to enjoy the extraordinary, such as that beautiful sunset. Therefore, again, I'm asking council to schedule a town hall in May, not November, since many residents are here in May and they're not here in November. As part of a healthy community where the residents have the opportunity to be educated, I stress education always, and take an active role. Councilmember Baldwin did reach out to me with something that she and my understanding, Councilman Bogner, were working on, and that was an open house in May at the convention center. I thought that was a fantastic idea. The first part being that the mayor, a couple council people, and also the committees, such as Historic Preservation Committee, Planning, Zoning, would attend this open house and give feedback to not feedback, would educate people as to how things are done and what is being done. But it's the second part that needs to be included in this. Besides the education, you need to hear the feedback, and you need to hear the feedback from not us going to a table, a specific table, and talking to someone on the committee about what they're doing, but it needs to be an open forum where residents can express their opinion, because I particularly love to hear what other people have to say. And it also lends to more credibility. In other words, if someone is asking a question, you know, I can think back afterwards and say, yeah, this question was asked, you know, are we doing anything about it? Or, you know, what's happening with that? So,
Excuse me, Mayor.
I applaud that Councilman Baldwin and Councilman Bogner were thinking along these lines, and I do appreciate that. But I do think a town hall where the first part of your thoughts is included, but the second part needs to be an open discussion with residents.
Mike?
So,
Agree. We'd be fine to do that. I just want to make sure, I don't want to tell you May, and then that doesn't fit the schedule for any reason, whatever. But I'm happy to do that, and I think it's wonderful. That
That's
We're
wonderful.
due to have one. I agree
yeah,
with you.
I bring it up now because it'll be May before we know it.
It is? Okay, so sounds like May 13th is basically already scheduled. I'm happy to make that more of an open format as you're suggesting.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I do like the idea of people being able to break out, only because some people don't like to come to the microphone and talk in front of the whole town. But I'd be happy to add the bigger portion with the
Maybe
town
have,
as well.
so maybe have both.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'm fine, totally fine with that. Let me just say this. It's, as a resident, I always felt like sometimes it's a little bit of a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
As mayor, I think it's a nice opportunity to tell people about what we're doing, you know. But I know people don't want to just see a bunch of, everything's great, thanks for coming. You know, I mean, we want to answer those questions that people have. So I think we probably should then have a little bit of a, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we have going on right now, just so everybody knows. Feel free to ask any questions about it, and then maybe break out from there if people want to
Right.
have a more intimate discussion or whatever.
And at the last town hall meeting, I believe the different committees weren't represented. I think that it's a fantastic idea because it gives people
Yeah.
more of an idea how decisions are made. In other words, it doesn't put the onus on, the five of you. It shows that, there are committees that look into these, specific issues, and then you give them, they give you their feedback and findings. So I think, having committees represented would be eye-opening to people.
Sure. I'd love to be able to blame our M-Track committee or our zoning or our HPC. I'm seeing the members in the audience that are here. No, I think it's an excellent idea, and for everyone to be able to learn from that is great, so.
And Raj, you brought up a good point when we had our discussion, just having suggestions or
Right.
having, questions
Oh, right.
that could be answered.
In a
at
log, some
Yes.
type of a
Yeah.
log. Okay, great.
Exactly.
All right,
So
thank you.
we took that under, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, my name is Paul Johnston. I reside at 11 South Broadway, Cape May. Regarding the Cape Island Bridge, bike bridge, pedestrian bridge over First Avenue, I grew up in the neighborhood all my life. I've been there since 1960. And I know the area very well. As a matter of fact, I used to trap minnows there, and believe it or not, trap muskrats, and then skin them and sell them to a trapper for furs. A little Huckleberry Finn kind of activity. But I've been there a long time. I'm very familiar with the area. I know it's very sensitive, environmentally sensitive. And I guess it's being proposed obviously because of pedestrian safety, because of the accidents we had on Broadway. That'd be a correct assumption, right?
Yes.
Some tragic accidents. One lady died,
Yes.
West Cape May, and I think a young man had an accident,
Yep.
which is understandable. And I think that the idea is to build a bridge in lieu of removing some parking spaces on Broadway. There's about 3 parking spaces on Broadway, the second block. I'll give you an address. It's about the 205 block of South Broadway. The 3 parking spaces as you turn the corner of West Grant, making a right to Beach Avenue on Broadway. There's about 3 parking spots there, which would obstruct a bike path. So instead of removing those parking spots, because everyone loves parking spots, there's a desperate need for parking in Cape May, and no one wants to remove parking spots. You had a presentation here earlier by Mr. Walsall about we need more parking spaces, which is true. But I think the idea that the city council has and the bike committee has is, let's not remove any parking spaces, let's build a bridge instead. Is that a correct assumption? Partially correct?
I would disagree with it, to be honest with you, and I'll just tell you why, and then you can, say whatever you think. But that's not how they came to this assumption. They came to the assumption, and Mr. Bodnar can talk on it in regards to, he's the liaison to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. They looked at and had several studies done. I mean, and very good studies. They were expensive, took over a year to complete, and looked at basically what are your hot spots for the most difficult areas for pedestrians and bicyclists in the town. And you could look at the whole study. I'm sure some people would agree or disagree with certain parts of it, but I think any rational person is going to look at the study and say, hey, this makes sense. One of the biggest hot spots was Broadway. And obviously, part of that, as you mentioned, was we actually had a fatality and several other accidents that were really bad. They looked at it, and frankly, the parking issue didn't come up on Broadway because their thought was get everybody off Broadway as much as possible. So the plan became to use Pacific Avenue in West Cape May, which obviously had an issue where it came to Sunset, right? And then crossing over to, you had to go back onto Broadway to get to the beach, which obviously was a lot of the traffic. So that was when they said, okay, listen, if you had a bridge here, you could direct traffic basically through, 80% of West Cape May on Pacific Avenue, all the way down to the beach without getting on Broadway. So that was the thought. And I don't think anybody thinks it's perfect. And part of it too, just to know, is an extensive portion of their plan is actually the the bike paths on Pacific Avenue as part of this whole thing. And then also remember, on Sunset Boulevard, the county, we hope that it happens sooner than later, but has a major plan to go all the way down the left side of Sunset Boulevard. And it's an extensive plan. It actually is basically a boardwalk to the left of Sunset Boulevard on the Nature Conservancy side, all the way down to, the concrete ship. So basically, this would connect to that. So if you were on that bike path, you'd be able to make a right, not have to go on to Broadway and make it all the way down to the beach. So that was the idea. I understand that the parking thing came up, and frankly, that could be a separate discussion. I'm not saying that it couldn't, but I think the idea.
A parking plan of removing those 3 spots did come up or did not come up?
I've heard it come up since this bridge plan. And look, if you were just to get rid of 3 parking spaces and it makes it safer, I don't see the major issue there. However, the whole point is to get people off of Broadway. That was the whole solution of the bicycle and pedestrian plan.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could just add to that, I mean, it's, when we're talking about the traffic on Broadway, it's just not the direction in the flow in one direction. It's also going back as well. So there's issues as far as the safety for people who would be returning and going in the other way at the end of the day, as well as crossing over Broadway as well. So those were additional safety concerns that were taken into consideration regarding Broadway.
Okay. I'm not a direct neighbor of that project. I'm 2 blocks away. So I think it'd be important to notify which you did, by the way. You notified it on the agenda, this discussion. I mean, thank you, Paul, for doing that. Thank you, City Council, for doing that. Last time it wasn't notified, it wasn't published. This time it is. I don't know why it wasn't done previously. And I have to say this, but I wish other projects were published for transparency, specifically the project in front of my property on Beach Avenue, the Bowards. Well, I did not get the same opportunity to discuss that project like I'm doing now with this one. I want to put that out there. Also, I want to ask Paul, what is a bike charrette? You mentioned on First Avenue, after the bridge, you would enter going south, there'd be a bike charrette. Are they Bowards?
Oh, a bike charrette, so those are the bike symbol with kind of the arrows that are on the pavement. They're bike charrettes, I call them. They're on Beach Avenue.
The reflectors that stand up?
No, it's painted. It's paint on the street.
Paint. So a bike charrette is instead of paint, it's a vinyl layer of ribbon.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
You said that, I would understand. Okay. All right, then my last question, I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. You didn't give me the 5-minute notice like you do normally, but she's laughing.
I'll let you know.
It's coming.
But thank you for that. Normally you say, your time's up, Mr. Johnston. You had 5 seconds. Get out of here. When is the introduction for the resolution for this project, for the funding, or approve it?
For which project?
For the bridge project.
So from a funding standpoint, West Cape May has secured the funding for the project through 2 different grants. The final grant they got was from a local transportation grant from the DOT. So they've secured the funding to build the project. After today's presentation, I'm going to be asking council, there'll be a resolution at the next meeting to authorize us to sign the grant or the permit application to submit the project to the DEP to get permits. So that's really it's not approving the project to go to construction.
But we've already even approved the agreement between Cape May and West.
Well, we don't. We've talked about it. We don't have a formal written agreement, but we discussed that we're going to share costs and do those kinds of things
Right.
at here. But
We have to pay for the permit, our share of the permit.
at this point, yes.
okay.
So that's what that's what I'll be looking at. When they get me the actual permit application, I'm anticipating that I'm going to have that later this week, early next week, that I'll present that as a resolution to authorize us to sign because we're a co-owner of the project to submit that for a permit to the DEP. It would not be for authorization to construct a project that, we have to get final plans and work all that out. It just would be to submit the plans to the DEP to see if they can get a permit.
So it's in the future. It's not really final yet. The resolution will be in the future sometime. Not in 2 weeks?
Hopefully, it'll be at the next meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How you doing? Brett Blythe, 1313 Massachusetts Avenue. Paul, question for that bridge. I'm sorry. Brett Blythe, 1313, for that bridge. Now, since West Cape May, my understanding, they're going to pay for it except for the permit, that we're going to, I guess, our portion of permit. Is it going to be pressure treated, and are they going to maintain the bridge down the road?
So there's going to be no pressure treated. The decking is most likely going to be an epi type of hardwood, similar to what we used around Convention Hall up on the promenade. It'll be a similar wood to that. We have not worked out, or had discussions with West Cape May as far as long-term maintenance of the bridge.
And what type of, use the timeline of that wood that you're referring to? What is the?
The lifespan of that wood
Yes.
decking, 50, 70 years.
Okay. Okay. Next question, Mayor. January 14th, with the wave, you mentioned about, how we did well with revenue from beach badges and occupancy. What kind of interest are we making on that 1 million some? Was it 1%?
We've been averaging between, I'll say, up to a little over 3. Right now, it's just under 3%.
What do you have, CDs? What do you have in CDs? Because in interest at a bank, they're not going to pay
Well,
that kind of.
if you look at, so we have funds both in NJ ARM and at our local bank, and we have I would say a blended rate of just about over 3 with our different
But
funds.
is it in treasuries? Is that because? What is,
They just give us an interest rate for the business. I mean,
When you have-
several $1 million in the.
so they give you a better rate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about, what is our debt? Why you mention our debt per ratio? What is our debt?
We did just do the.
And I think I think we also had that presentation on the webpage. Just to give you an update, so at our next meeting, I was going to not mention this, but since you're here, at our next meeting, I'll most likely be making a capital budget presentation. So we'll hit on a lot of that information.
Will that be printed in the paper too? I mean,
It'll be printed in the paper after I give
after you do your presentation.
after we do the presentation at the next meeting.
enough.
We hope. I mean, we don't know if they'll pick it up. Typically,
Right.
they do.
well, I mean, you had it about the tags and everything else.
Right.
It was- Well, I know, but
Yes.
it's glitz and glitter, but my feeling is, why don't we get the whole picture?
Yeah, sure, I hear you, yep.
And our website, and
Oh, fairness.
in previous years, I have put my budget presentations and capital budget presentations on the website, immediately after we have the meeting. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
if-
my thought is, and that's, I'll accept but, to me, it's about perception. We have one, but I think if we get a full picture of everything.
if you,
it's just that-
I would look at our website as a wealth of information, especially from a budget standpoint. All of our budgets we have a lot of debt information on there. So I think the questions that you're asking, I don't have it right here at my fingertips,
Yeah.
but it is up on our website.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else this evening?
Stacy Shan, 928 Columbia Avenue. I just went on the website to look at those ordinances. They don't have any bold or crossouts on them.
Right, because if you look, they're repealing and replacing with the language that's in the body of the ordinance. So everything that is in the current ordinance for those sections is being taken out and replaced with.
Okay,
like
so
I
there's
said-
no crossouts, it's all brand-new
No,
wording
but
for all of them?
That's why I went over those particular ordinances are very similar to what's in place now. The methods and systems that are in place, the affordability requirements, they're just
Right.
being modified to be tailored to the updated.
Okay, because
statute.
usually there's crossouts, and then they say what's going out and what's going in. But that's
Right.
not how it's being done this time. It's just all,
No, the recommendation from Affordable Housing Council was to adopt a repeal and a replacement so that this is a very similar framework that is being adopted statewide. These are sort of like off-the-shelf provisions of the ordinance that we have to adopt pursuant to the fourth round obligations.
It's a model ordinance from this.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just usually, when we do an ordinance change like that, or it's cross-outs and bolded what's going in, what's coming out.
When you're doing little revisions, that's what happens.
That would be
but
the
for-
case if we were really like kind of tailoring this to the city, like the first one is, and that's where the bold and underlined language
And-
comes in. These are, like I said, really standardized,
And we
conform to
can't,
state requirements.
and we can't do any tailoring, because I know there's some ordinance we have tailored that we want to put extra wording in or change
Yeah,
that.
they're tailored in the sense that the same ingredients that were there before are there now, with some updates to conform to updated statutory requirements and regulations. So we're really not getting creative, other than making sure that they conform with updated affordable housing state regulations. That's what those updates are.
And keeping the other stuff still in there.
Correct.
Okay.
If, in other words, if you liked what was in there before, you're going to love this.
I'll see.
All right, anyone else this evening? Seeing none, motion to adjourn? All right, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you very much.
Time is 6:23.